Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I'm going to be previewing and also making my prediction ahead of next week's Progress Tour British Women's Singles event. Just a quick look at the format. It's going to be similar to the World Tour Finals, 4 groups of 4 players. I think two players progress from each group, making to our last 8. And there will be a final on Friday to determine the winner of the event. The event is live on BBC Sport and online all next week, so tune in if you can. It's a great opportunity really for British tennis, I think. We have a lot of talented British women's players in this country. You're going to get an opportunity next week to see the best of those, the likes of Harriet Dart, Katie Boulter, Heather Watson, and also that next crop coming through of young players. A lot of them are out studying in America, playing college tennis, and some are young as 17. They're playing next week, so it's going to be interesting, as I say, to see the real talented players at the top that we're used to seeing all the time, and also that next generation coming through gives them a chance to build their profiles and get the media exposure and get the names out there. So I'm just going to have a quick run through all the players, talk about the groups and who I expect to progress from each of the groups, and also who I think will win the title on next Friday. So kicking things off with the first Premier Division. Heather Watson is headline of that group. A top 30 player. I don't think we've seen the best of Heather yet due to injury. She's that consistency because of that, and she's been very unlucky with injuries in her career. She's approaching her peak years now, so I'm just hoping for Heather that she gets an injury-free spell for a good few years now, really gets to rack up the tournaments, because I'm sure she's a player that can climb the rankings very quickly and win a number of titles. I think she's a top 30 player on the day. She started 2020 very well, reaching the semi-finals in Hobart, beating Kristina Pliskova in the first round of the Australian Open before winning the 4th WTA title in Acapulco in Mexico early this year. So as I say, just hopefully she has an injury-free spell and really takes advantage of it, because as I say, I think she's a player that is very aggressive, hits the ball extremely well, particularly on a hard court. Next week's conditions will suit Heather. I just think she deserves a run without an injury really. She's been very unlucky and she's super talented, and I think she's a player that can potentially get in the top 30, top 20 and make major runs in Grand Slams in the future. Moving on to Maya Lumsden of Scotland. She is the #1 Scottish ranked player on the Women's Tour. She's into tomorrow's British Tour singles final. So if you are about tuning into that, I think it's live on the LTA Facebook and YouTube page. So obviously goes into next week's tournament full of confidence, playing well, match fit. Only 22-year-old, she's already won a number of ITF events, competed in a WTA event last year for the first time. And I think Scottish tennis are very excited about Maya and what she will achieve in the future. Alicia Barnett actually played a big role in creating this event alongside Barry Fulcher and Olivia Nichols. So well done to those three. They've built a great lineup in particularly tough times and tough conditions, and just hopefully the tournament runs smooth and goes as well as I expect. She's had a solid few years on Alicia Barnett. On tour has Alicia Barnett, 26 now, particularly on the doubles circuit, has done very well, winning 4 ITF singles doubles titles with Olivia Nichols. She had a few good wins at the British Tour early this week, so she obviously got that match sharpness and confidence going next week, and I'm sure she'll be hoping to go very far in the tournament. Be interesting to see how she does against the likes of Dart and Heather Watson. Sam Murray to wrap up this final group. She's had a fantastic career really, the oldest player in this tournament at 32, and she's been a fantastic flag bearer for British tennis over the past years in her career. She's represented Great Britain all around the world. She's won 21 doubles titles, 4 singles titles, and won a 25k event in singles in South Africa early this year, which shows how well she's been playing this year. And she goes into the tournament as one of the form players, if you can say that. Before lockdown she was playing incredibly well, and that was arguably her biggest singles title win in South Africa in March. So I'm sure she'll be hoping to back that up this year and really gain momentum and climb the rankings. She's very tall, is Sam Murray. She has a great serve, lots of experience, which counts for a lot in every event, and I'm sure she'll be looking to go well next week. Moving on to Group 2 in the Premier Division, Harriet Dart, you must say she's, she is one of the shining lights of British tennis. She's one of the highest ranked girls. Just 23-year-old, she's already ranked inside the top 200, and she reached the third round of Wimbledon last year, which I think really projected Dart onto the map, and a lot of people started to take notice and really follow her career. She played fantastically well last year at Wimbledon. She is, as I say, one of Britain's best prospects for looking into the future to win titles and climb into the top 100. I think Dart is a player that will certainly do that as long as she stays fit and focused on her career. As a player, she hits the ball very cleanly. She's got a great forehand, a solid serve, really looks to attack and take on the short ball. Very exciting to watch. And she's struck a really good doubles partnership over the past few years with Katie Dunn, winning 3 titles, and she's a very good singles and doubles player, and I think a player that will do well in both formats in the future. Katie Boulter, another fantastic young talent. She did actually get ranked 82 in 2019, then suffered a serious back injury which stopped that sort of momentum, and it was a massive shame. Katie Boulter came on the tour back in 2019, aged just 21 or 22, and as I say, ranked inside the top 100 at that age is a fantastic achievement, and I think she had the capabilities to really push on with that and progress with her career, and really represent Britain fantastically well. And I'm pleased to say that she's back on court now. She's back injury free, and I'm sure she'll, similar to Heather Watson, just be looking to have an injury free spell and climb the rankings again, get some wins behind and start winning titles. She's still only very young at 23, but yeah, it'll just be fantastic to see Boulter back fit and playing well again next week. Eden Silva produced that memorable run last year at Wimbledon in the mixed doubles with Evan Hoyt, reaching the quarterfinals, which was just a fantastic achievement for both of them and for British tennis. We all support the British players at Wimbledon, and to see a British pair and reach the quarterfinal of the mixed doubles was fantastic. They played unbelievably well in them couple of weeks, and her career's gone from strength to strength from then. She had a fantastic 2019, won a few doubles events. And yeah, she's a player with a very good serve. She's solid around the net. She looks to be aggressive, and I'm sure she'll use that serve to full effect next week. Really hitting the wide serve and looking to come in early and put the points away. And Eden Silva is a very, very good doubles player, and also looking to progress in her singles career. Still only 24, lots of ability, and as I say, has the potential to progress in both disciplines in the future. Jodie Burrage reached the British Tour final last week before losing to Emma Raducanu, and Raducanu is another British teenager that is doing fantastic things in the ITF Tour, and is a real shining light in British tennis again. She's coming through at just 17-year-old and playing fantastic tennis, and that final was brilliant last week between Burrage and Raducanu. Raducanu just edged it in a match-deciding tie-break, but unfortunately she has had to withdraw from this week's event, which is a massive shame. It would have been great for British tennis fans to see her play live in BBC. But just talking about Jodie Burrage, just 21. She's already registered 3 singles titles wins, 4 doubles titles, and she's brilliant to watch. I feel she's a player that is improving all the time with the more confidence and experience that she gets. And she's a player that I think can go well next week. So moving on to the Division 1 groups, in Group 3. First off, looking at Sarah Beth-Grey, she's won 11 ITF doubles titles, made a WTA debut last year in Dubai, which is great for Sarah Beth-Grey, and she's a player that I think will feature on the WTA doubles tour very often in the future, still only around 24. She does have that lefty serve which causes opponents lots of problems. She uses very well swinging away, and being a very good doubles player, she likes to attack the net, be aggressive, and put the points away early. And yeah, I think she uses that serve very effectively to come into the net, and I'm sure it'll cause a lot of players problems next week when returning against her. Nell Miller is a very young player, I think just 20-year-old, just currently studying and playing college tennis in Texas, USA. I assume she's just come home from the lockdown and entered into the tournament and being given a chance to play in the event, which is great. The US tennis route is a route that a lot of our players take now. You got the likes of Paul Jubb, Ryan Peniston, Victoria Allen is another player currently on the US college tennis route alongside Nell Miller. Obviously the coaching, the facilities, competition is very good in the US, and a lot of our players have really benefited from that, and everyone I've spoke to about it has only had to say good things. So I think just more and more British players will be going out there to sort of learn the trade before coming back to have a successful pro career. And for Miller, there's no sort of pressure on these players. They're just 20-year-olds. She'll just be excited to test herself against good opposition. Obviously live in BBC will be good. And then she'll probably move back to America, I think, around September to start her next season. Moving on to the youngest player in the draw, Amelia Blissett, just 17-year-old, very highly rated, and similar to Nell Miller, it'll just be a fantastic experience for her to play against players of this calibre. As I say, there's no pressure on these players. They just turn up and play as well as they can, enjoy the event, learn from that experience of being around the top players. And I'm sure she'll be a player that's thinking about the next career move, whether to move to UK university, to go down the US college tennis route, or move to an academy. But it'll just be exciting to see these likes of Amelia Blissett and Nell Miller next week, to see what they've got to offer, and see how they play the game, because they're not players obviously we've seen much of. Emily Arbuthnot is another player that is currently out in America. She was out in Stanford University in USA for 4 years. I think she's just about to kick off her pro career. She's gained lots of experience obviously out in America, playing lots of competitive tennis. She's really improved her all-round game from being out there, and now just hoping to have a successful pro career in both singles and doubles. She's already had lots of success in doubles events, but I spoke to her last week, and she's also looking to really progress her singles ranking as well and win titles in them events. I haven't actually seen Emily play a lot, so it'll be exciting to see another new player next week. And finally, moving on to the last group of Division 1 players, headed by Freya Christie, just 22-year-old, and she's already had lots of experience on the pro tour, particularly in the doubles circuit. She's played all over the world, and I think experiences like that are, you can't buy experience. She's already won 13 doubles titles, and she's got great record in finals. I think if you've got that winning momentum and know how to win finals, then it does count for a lot in these sort of events. And I've caught a couple of her matches last week at the British Tour. She seems to be playing very well, full of confidence, hitting the ball very cleanly. And she'll be confident of getting out this group and progressing into the last 8. Moving on to Victoria Allen, again currently studying and playing tennis in Florida, USA. Only 19 years old, and I saw her play in Manchester Trophy. I think she was just 16. It was around a few years ago, and straight away she struck me as a future very good player. As very tall, has a great serve that she uses to great effect, and she has a fantastic double-handed backhand. If you are looking to improve your own double-handed backhand, then just watch Victoria Allen next week. She's very aggressive with it, very rarely misses it. It hits it very well down the line for winners on a very frequent occasion. She has that sort of 1-2 where she, serves out wide, gets the short ball and puts it away with a double-handed backhand. At just 19 years old, I think Victoria will do very good things for British tennis, and hopefully things go well in Florida and she comes back and has a very successful pro career. Danielle Daly is just a 20-year-old. Obviously, again, great experience for British fans to see these sort of players, and also great experience from the players' point of view to play against our top players and just play competitive tennis again. It hasn't been on for 4 months. I'm sure they're all looking forward to the event starting. And finally, Alice Gillen is another 21-year-old, another player that I haven't seen much of yet. Exciting for, as I say, fans and players to get that opportunity. And it's great for the young players to sort of get that media exposure and get British tennis fans watching them, following them on social media, following their careers. And I'm sure next week will be a fantastic event. But just finally, my tip to win the tournament next week is Heather Watson. I think I've always been a massive fan of Heather. She started 2020 fantastically well, as I say, getting that win over Pliskova, reaching the semi-final in Hobart. and then winning that title in Acapulco, beating Leila Fernandez in the final. I'm sure will give her massive confidence, and I think she is a standout player this week. You know, there's tough opposition there in the likes of BOULTER and Dart, but I think Heather is the outstanding player, and if she turns up in full form and hits from the back of the court in the way she can and does that aggressive style, serves well, then I think it'll be tough for anybody to stop Heather. But you know, when none of them have been playing particularly a lot, obviously during the lockdown, then it's very difficult to know who's, you know, gonna adapt to the conditions quickly, and you know who'll grind out them wins. It'll be very difficult to predict, but I do think Heather is the favourite going into next week's tournament. I think these events have been great. The British Tour and obviously the Battle of the Brits featured like Andy Murray and Dan Evans and Kyle Edmund, and although it's very difficult next year, you know, assuming we get a full season, to get a lot of British players obviously on tour or studying in America, it's going to be difficult to have all British events, but it would be something I'd like to see more regularly. I think it's great for British tennis and growing British tennis, especially being live on the BBC. It's a great platform, and yeah, I think the viewing figures have been great, and I've been looking through players' social medias, and I can see the growing from playing in events that are being broadcast live on the LTA and YouTube and the BBC, which is great. And yeah, I think it would be nice to see a regular British event every summer. I have done interviews the likes of Emily Arbuthnot, Victoria Allen, Esther Adeshina, who is playing in the doubles, Anna Popescu also playing the doubles. They're already on the channel, so if you want to check them out, learn a bit more about some of the players that are competing next week before the tournament starts, then just look through the player interviews folder, and you'll see them all there. I am taking part in the media day on Monday, so hopefully get a few interviews with a few of the players, and I'll get them out on Monday before the tournament starts. And I will be covering the tournament next week. I'll probably do a video every day talking about the highlights of that day and each player that's won, and then looking ahead to the following day. So yeah, just tune into the tournament. As I say, it's live on BBC Sport and online. It's going to be, I think it'll be a fantastic event for British tennis, a real chance to see our best players in action, and also, as I say, that next generation that we haven't seen much of yet. But yeah, just follow the players obviously on social medias and Twitters. Most of them are on there. The Progress Tour do have a Twitter and Instagram page, which I'll leave links to in the description. Follow me on Twitter. I'll be talking about the event every day. And yeah, that's it really. Kept the video down to below 20 minutes, which is quite surprising. But yeah, Heather Watson is my tip to pick up the title in next week's Progress Tour, but I don't think that's the important thing. I think the important thing is that, you know, it helps to grow British tennis. It's got a fantastic platform on BBC, and it's great that our players are getting more exposure, and just support them and get behind them and watch the tennis, and I'm sure we won't be disappointed. But thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe, and if you could share it around, it'd be fantastic. But yeah, I'll see you next week. Probably Monday I'll be posting a few more interviews of players ahead of the event. But yeah, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.